Turn it up to 7. All the promise when I make, they gonna be like say I fake. Where the money, where the food, everybody want it food. Since you come, the tears and say, we don't tire to complain. I see the bad way you been do. You don't tell them keep their into do. 97% and 5%. Bad way you been do. You don't tell them keep their into do. 97% and 5%. You know been talk like president. You rule Nigeria with sentiment. I take your office to revenge. With a bad yo, let Nigeria no go back for your head, yo. Yes, sir. After the election, where them do, until they went to see the change, yo. All the promise where them make, they gonna be like say they're fake, yo. Where the money, where the food, Nigeria people want it food. But since you come, the tears are fed, we don't tire to complain. No one voting for the youth, and security no improve. Inflation no dey hit the roof. Still government no dey say the truth.
Alexa, 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 turn it down to 0.
Here's a sampler down to 0 by Jonama Trading on Amazon Music.
It's like we're having a bit of misunderstanding with Alexa this morning. Let me close this. Sorry, I came in late. We were supposed to have started about 25 minutes ago. Thank you for hanging on and waiting on me. So let's get it started. Sharp. And it's going to, if you read the caption of the broadcast, you can make your own contribution accordingly. You know how we do it on this platform. I'm going to be eating the whole thing sharp. And it's going to be very, very interesting. Very, very interesting this morning. So, Kasala don't bust. The key word for our conversation today, today's sermon, is that Kasala don't bust. And nobody must blackmail you into feeling any sympathy or becoming sympathetic to any of them. You must not be blackmailed into this. That's why I'm going to open the conversation this morning with what, one sec, let me see if I can put my camera better. That is why for those who are going to use religion to blackmail you into joining them to mourn the passing of Abba Kyari, we have few words for them from what the two top religions says about death. We know about death. We are all going to die. Okay? Abba Kyari died. We don't even know his age. Buhari said he was 67. Some Buhari's Twitter advisors, they said Abba Kyari was 72. And from the other side, we heard that Abba Kyari is or was 80. It doesn't really matter. The man died Let's take the lowest age, 67. That's a very good age, a ripe age to die, especially if you are a Nigerian currently living in Nigeria. If you are lucky enough to die like Abba Kyari with so much money, so much power, influence, and then at a ripe age, you shouldn't be mourning. You should be celebrating his death, because according to those who told us to mourn him, he lived a worthy, emulative life. So therefore, everyone should be celebrating him. But that won't stop us from speaking our mind. Nobody will blackmail us to make us feel bad simply because we are expressing how much of what we have told them that they never believed in. The repercussion, they call it, but I call it consequences of every action they make, every action they take, every decision they take in power, outside power, before they get to power, including those of you who are voting for them, those of you who are championing for them. Everything you do has consequences, and therefore one of them is what finally took Abba Kyari. He would have died anyway because of his his health condition that no doctor in Nigeria has record of, except in in Wellington, in London. But we'll come back to that later. In the Bible, Romans 14:8. This is what the Bible says about death. So we know about death. Okay? So if we express ourselves and we say, no, we are not joining you to be hypocrites, you liars, you fake mourners, we will not be like you. We will speak up the way we feel, and we will call on others who are still alive to do the right thing, or they will die like a piece of dog, the way Abba Kyari died. That is how those who have the opportunity, because that's how they have been burying Nigerians. So, you know what I mean now? People have been dying. They've been killing people. Boko Haram death, Fulani herdsmen, bandits, and so on. You know all of them. They have been killing Nigerians. The governor of Kaduna State, his name is El Rufai. El Rufai supervised the killings of over 1,000 Nigerians because they were Shiites. We will never forget that. They were buried in shallow grave in Zaria. So Abba Kyari also died like a dog, even though they try to make the dog look beautiful, to make the dog look valuable, to make the dog, the piece of shit look like a what? Look like a royal person. It doesn't change anything. He died like a piece of dog. He died alone. That's how many of them will die, as long as they continue to pretend. Like, and for some of you who are supporting them, you are dying anyway. You are dying. It's just that your own never make it they never make it to the news. We never heard about how you died, how you defecated, how you struggled, how you suffered for things that ordinarily should have been taken care of in a better hospital for you, if there is one. But because there is none, many of you are dying. Many of your parents, many of your family members, people you know, neighbors, they are dying for needless reasons. But they died well in a way compared to how Abba Kyari died. He died alone. He died because he had a contagion, because he had an epidemic. And the healthcare system they left in Nigeria that has been killing Nigerians for years couldn't save him. So he died like a piece of dog. Apology to all dogs, because it's more or less like insult to dog to compare Abba Kyari with dog. Dogs are friendly. Dogs are lovely. Dogs are loyal. Dogs are faithful. And dogs are honest. That's what we know about dogs. Not all this kind of piece of dogs. So don't let anybody make you feel bad. You are not a bad person, okay? You are not a bad person for expressing how you feel about people who have caused enough wreck, death, killings, wailings, and name it. Enough havoc. They didn't do it themselves. They were in position, right, to sanction those things. And they approved of them while Nigerians were dying every day. Even the coronavirus has just killed about 17 people declared so far. But do you know that Nigerian policemen have killed 21 people in the last 14 days or 18 days of lockdown? Yes, they killed them like common criminals on the streets. Abba is boiling right now, but we'll come back to all of that later. This is what the Bible says about death. So we know about death, and we know that we are all going to die. But choose how you die. Choose how you will be remembered. Don't give us these beautiful, funny, fake stories. He's a good man. He's a that man. He was in position. And I'll tell you about him, a lot about him, just as we proceed. Romans, let's start with Romans 14:8. If we live for the Lord. And if we die for the Lord. So whether we live or die, we belong to the Lord. He will do whatever he wants to do with us. That's what the Bible says. So whether you mourn, whether you wail, whether you mock, it doesn't really matter. Whether you live or you die, everything about you belongs to God. Not you, not me, to judge. Another chapter here is Romans 8:13. For if you live according to the flesh, you will die. But if by the Spirit you put to death the misdeeds of the body, you will live. That is talking about his deed. When he was all by himself, he had the opportunity of saving lives, but he bungled it, right? With others, including Buhari himself. He is going to die alone too. Buhari, watch. So, Romans 6:23. For the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life through Christ Jesus our Lord. For those who take it further to believe that once they accept Jesus as their Lord and Savior, then their sins are forgiven. Even if they die in Christ. There are traits that makes you a born again, by the way. So which means there are things you won't do. You won't be in position of authority and sanction stealing that will lead to death, right? And then when you die, you want us to recognize you and start feeling like, oh, God will punish me if I say what I know about this person, So let's continue. There is another chapter, says, John, that's leading to when you want to go to heaven when you die. The Thessalonians, 1 Thessalonians 4:14. For we believe that Jesus died and rose again, and so we believe that God will bring to Jesus those who have fallen asleep in him. So, the life after death is not in my own hand. It's not in your own hand. Some of us, you've told us that we are going to hell, and we have accepted that, okay, fine. Let us continue to say the truth, and let what happened thereafter happen. But here is what the Quran says about death. So there is a chapter here called in the Holy Quran, chapter 55, verse 26, says, all that is on earth will perish. So if you are religious, you are a Muslim, you know that if you decided to steal, if you decided to sanction, taking the liberty of others simply because you have the power to, if you sanction the killings of people, or you cover up the killings of people simply because you have the power to, then at the end of the day, if you are a real Muslim, you will know that all of that will perish one day. But there's something that will happen thereafter. In Holy Quran chapter 55:26 says, everyone shall taste death, and only on the day of resurrection shall you be paid your wages in full. And whoever is removed away from the fire and admitted to paradise, this person is indeed successful. The life of this world is only the enjoyment of deception, power, influence. If Abba Kyari sneeze, the whole of the political structures in Nigeria will shake. He is so powerful. He is all to be. Who made him powerful? Buhari. That will be the beginning of our discussion this morning. Discussion, on the death of Abba Kyari, and then the consequences of their actions, and others that are yet to come, because others are going to die too. It is not because we wish them death, that's why they will die. No, it's simply because the same healthcare system they abandoned, that we have been talking about all this while, right? We failed them, same way it has been failing so many people. And in the process, they will even spread the virus more among themselves, right? Foolishly, the same way they did in Abuja yesterday. That's how they will continue, because their ignorance made it what it is first. No real healthcare system. Then their greed and selfishness, right, will not make them again to see the danger that is taking them one by one. It wasn't Abba Kyari that died yesterday. Abba Kyari died there 2 days ago. So they had to bury him yesterday. There's stories around that too. We will crack that up as well. Now, the one of the judges in the Nigerian Judicial Council, what do you call it? One of their judges there also died yesterday of coronavirus. There are so many of them right now that are also suffering from the symptoms of the coronavirus, because at first they've declared themselves negative. I don't have anything, all clear now, clear and all that, but internally, secretly, they are fighting it. You will be hearing their death very soon. Like, they will be dying like, just like Abba Kyari died. So, but in the process, they are going to make it spread. And I hope that will bring down the end. Let me say that will bring to the end the tyranny of Boko Haram and the terrorism that they have unleashed on Nigeria. Let's start. Who made Abba Kyari powerful? You have read a lot. So many people have been sanctimonizing their presentations about Abba Kyari. So many people have been bringing up stories to make it look like, oh, he is actually the most misunderstood Nigerian. No, we didn't misunderstand him. We misunderstood him completely when he was here, and we know, and we have the track record of all his actions and the repercussions of all his actions when he was here. Do not tell us that we misunderstood him. We misunderstood. We understood him rather. Don't let me just show you boso. Now, who made Abba Kyari powerful? I am going to present to you this morning. Everything that comes out of my mouth will be backed by the usual taking you down the memory lane. You know how I do it. I'll tell you how this happened, what led to this. Then I will give you references to remind you. Do you remember that? Do you remember this? That's how we do it this morning. So as for you to understand it in toto, as they call it. So we don't like them because they don't like us. I don't hate them, but you have every right if you say you hate them, because everyone has a story of how Nigeria has ruined them in a way. Only few who have success stories are now flaunting them on our faces to say some of us are lazy. I will never call anyone lazy, especially in Nigeria, even if you are a Buhari-din or a Buhari-didiri, because I am just going to see you as one, an accomplice, enabler, an accomplice one, number two, an enabler, and then number three, right, as a victim of circumstances as well, because at the same time, what can you say? People who were born in 1999, when they never really witnessed what the military era was, or the people that were born when Nigeria military were in charge. I'm talking about those that were born in 70s, 80s. People like us who witnessed military brutality, who witnessed how things degenerated so bad to the point that you can only show your children pictures of coins, or if you have some you kept away, you can say Nigeria used to have coins and a very good currency until they ruined everything. What can you tell about the generation that came in 1999, the Indomie generation? What can you tell them about leadership? So this is where this will begin from. Now let's start from the death. Or let's start from who made Abba Kyari powerful, and what made so many people to become indifferent towards his death. People like me, I am indifferent, and I'm not going to be blackmailed to start feeling like I am a human. I will feel love. I've shown love to the people who deserved it. People like myself, people like yourself, people who have never been a partaker in the rotten system that has destroyed lives, that has destroyed, dreams, No more Nigeria dream. Nigerian dream now is just for you to become a politician or become a vuvuzela to a politician that can pay your bill, or you go in there yourself and steal the money by yourself or for yourself. So, what can you say about them? Who made Abba Kyari powerful? Buhari. When Buhari came to power, after the Tinubu of this world, after the Atikus of this world, after the Sarakis of this world, after the Kwakwansos of this world, after the Amechis of this world, and funny enough, ironically, after the Diezanis of this world, after they all came together to bring about the most terrorizing, a terror-infested government ever seen in the history of mankind. They brought back a dead dictator to rule over a democratic country. They used your money that they looted to mobilize to ensure that Buhari became president in 2015. Never forget, Tinubus of this world, the Afonjas of Yoruba land, they teamed up because to them, there will be more to share after the war to dethrone Goodluck Jonathan. They were not fighting to dethrone PDP. Some of you were foolishly led to believe that they dethroned PDP, but they didn't. They were PDP. There is nothing like PDP APC. These guys were the same, and you all know that. So they ganged up to dethrone Goodluck Jonathan, to install a deadbeat, a lifeless Buhari. They dragged him into it. He flip-flopped throughout the whole campaign, but eventually they rigged him in 2015. Then the drama began. Muhammadu Buhari, the newly elected president, after the, after the whole election drama, swearing in and the rest of that, the new president, Muhammadu Buhari, the moment he packed into Aso Rock, he appointed Abba Kyari to be his gatekeeper. And they shut the door. You will not see Buhari if you don't see the gatekeeper, Abba Kyari, his first appointment when he became president. So, the new president, this is how Abba Kyari became powerful. The new president then, disappeared into oblivion. So every meeting, the running of the government, every parastatal, everything that has to do with Nigeria, everything that has to do with politics, APC governance and the rest of that, needed to pass through the gate. And the man behind the gate was Abba Kyari. So this gave him absolute power and made him the de facto president of Nigeria. Even the most powerful politicians in Nigeria had to go through Abba Kyari to be able to see the president. And when they tell you that he's a nice man, be sure those are the people who manage to get the pass to see Buhari through Abba Kyari. They will write you lovely stuff. Love stories and all of that to make him look so good. Is beneficial to them. Do not forget that they are the elite. And Abba Kyari belonged to that caucus. Don't drag yourself emotionally into something that doesn't concern you. I will tell you how his life affected you directly or indirectly. Abba Kyari became the gate man. And if you see if you have seen the, the tribute paid to Abba Kyari by Buhari, he called him his friend, the gatekeeper. Of course, he's the gatekeeper, right? Now, let's go on. When they get into the government, for everyone who were gallivanting, making different utterances when they were doing the campaign, making different promises, all those promises that we are now holding APC to, that some of them are now denying, all promises cancelled. All those ones who are making big mouths, Amechi, all of them, they all became gentle So because they had to get appointment through Abba Kyari, they couldn't see Buhari anymore. You know what I mean now? So Buhari put Abba Kyari's office next to his. You won't know if Buhari is in office or not. You may travel from Port Harcourt to Abuja, because they gave you appointment to come and see Buhari. But when you get in, you will see Abba Kyari. Whatever it tells you is final. Go and read the tribute that Buhari paid him. Whatever Abba Kyari tells you was final because Buhari made him the president and disappeared. So then running, appointment of ministers, who become ministers, who become SA, who goes, who stays, and the rest of that solely lies on Abba Kyari. On the in the pretense that he always had Buhari's permission. Because Buhari, then when Buhari finally appointed the ministers, those who managed to pay bribe to get selected for ministerial appointments, even APC members who spent a lot, some of them had to pay money to get selected. That was where the clashes, when we were reporting the clashes between Buhari and Tinubu. Oh, they don't shop Tinubu's face. Oh, Tinubu don't enter him. They don't cut Tinubu out. It wasn't Buhari. It was Abba Kyari. And it was due to the whole action taking place inside Aso Rock in the name of Buhari. That was how powerful he was. And he was a very smart man, very educated, well-educated, well-traveled. So he's a very smart man. Buhari trusts him more than the commissioner houseboy, Pastor Ruga, Oshobade, the vice president. Buhari trusts Abba Kyari more than him. So Abba Kyari, as chief of staff to Buhari, became de facto president in charge of appointments, any other thing that comes out of, whatever comes out of the villa. Any directive that comes out that they say, oh, Buhari says this, Buhari said that, they were coming from Abba Kyari. Even when Buhari was very sick and was taken to London for 3 months. Now, when Buhari was doing the retreat, ministerial or something retreat, maybe presidential retreat, whatever, for his ministerial nominees, those who have scaled through the National Assembly screening of Saraki and Co. Buhari publicly told them, if you want to discuss anything with me, official, unofficial, political, you have to go through my chief of staff. He handed over power at that retreat. He handed over power to Abba Kyari. And it was a message. You shouldn't question it. Are you with me? It was a message. So all this, they changed the military, the Nigerian defense chiefs. They changed them to Fulani. They changed them to this and that. They were all coming from the Mr. Strategy, the gatekeeper. That is why recently, before he died, Moguno, the one they appointed as security advisor to Buhari, came out and he sent a memo to all the security chiefs, to the Nigerian military, to Nigerian police, to the DSS, and other security agencies and all that, that they should stop honoring security meeting with Abba Kyari, because Abba Kyari had no constitutional role. He's just someone that will take the list of who want to see the president, who the president want to see, and the rest. It's just like a secretary. So there's no constitutional role for him. But because Buhari handed over power to him, and it can be anybody. Let me be honest with you, it's not because it's Abba Kyari that is chief of staff. The presidents, they do that, by the way, especially lazy, clownish president like Buhari. They do that. They will just select a star minister. Under Obasanjo, that star minister was Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. She was the star, the superstar minister of Obasanjo's era. And you know what happened? Because she had all the presidential backing for everything she did at the time. Same thing is what is happening to Abba Kyari. But in the Abba Kyari's case, he killed Nigerians by all those actions. So they now tribalize everything that has to do with Buhari's appointment, into public office. They now jettison what they bragged about, federal character. They just dumped it in the bin and they started doing what they liked. Then something happened. Buhari was very sick and he had to go to London. And he had to hand over to the vice president constitutionally because it seems that it was going to go away for a long time. So they entered the dilemma. At the last minute, they decided to transmit a letter to the National Assembly to say Buhari handed over power to Osinbajo. That was where Abba Kyari's power was first threatened since they came to power. And that was in 2017. Buhari was very sick and they needed to take him to London for different, different medical procedures, bypasses and the rest of that. Osinbajo had to become the acting president. And as acting president, like many of us in Nigeria as well, who have been so kind of enraged by the lies they sold you, how they told you that they were fighting corruption. Meanwhile, they are the cesspool of corruption themselves. Osinbajo came in, reacted to some of them. Osinbajo sacked Babashir Lawal. But before sacking Babashir Lawal, Osinbajo first sacked Lawal Daura. Lawal Daura was the appointed DSS director. He was the director that Abba Kyari approved to lead DSS when Buhari came to power. Lawal Daura, is Buhari's cousin. They are blood relatives. So Abba Kyari brought him in to lead DSS. In the course of doing that shitty job for Abba Kyari, they decided to invade the judges' quarters. They arrested the Nigerian judges, in the middle of the night. At the end of the day, they said they found money on the judges. The whole thing went into trial, and the courts cleared the judges. When Osinbajo became acting president, he decided to sack Lawal Daura for no clearance. Because who gave you that authority? Who gave you that order to invade the judges' quarters? Your man, Abba Kyari, on the order of the president. When people get picked up, arrested secretly, harassed by DSS, by police, by the military, and the rest of that since Buhari came to power, to all of you, all of these are coming from Buhari? No. They were coming from Abba Kyari, the de facto president of Nigeria at the time. I have so many other cases I'm going to tell you about. So Osinbajo sacked Lawal Daura, appointed a replacement. Osinbajo sacked Babashir Lawal because he stole billions that was meant for the people in the internally displaced camps, IDP camps, internally displaced persons camps. The money meant for them were stolen by Babashir Lawal. He awarded 242 million naira contract to himself so as to cut the grass around IDP camps, while those who are living in the camps were all begging on the street for food. Osinbajo sacked him. And when Babashir Lawal was walking out of his office and the media accosted him, they asked him, have you received the news that you have been sacked and then sacked by the presidency? Babashir Lawal asked, who is the presidency? He knew then that Buhari was on ventilator in London, fighting for his life. Everybody, those who could travel then, Maman Daura, Abba Kyari, and the rest of them, they were in London trying to keep Buhari alive at the time. So, to Babashir Lawal, in the permutation of things, in the arrangement of things, Osinbajo is not involved. Who is presidency? He can't sack me. But he sacked him. So immediately, the order came from London. Buhari couldn't talk. He was a vegetable. He was on ventilator. He couldn't talk. He was more or less like dead. But they said an order came from, from London, that Babashir Lawal should nominate his replacement because Mr. President already cleared him, and it's true. While Buhari was struggling to breathe in Abuja, he wrote a letter, and do you know who wrote the letter? Abba Kyari. They wrote a letter to the National Assembly to say all the allegations against Babashir Lawal, they've all been investigated, and all of them were false. Babashir Lawal did the best job. He helped the IDP people. In fact, he's doing a great job. And President Muhammadu Buhari, cleared him of all that charges. They used Buhari's name to clear a thief of stealing. And let me tell you the drama around that stealing before Babashir Lawal was sacked. While Buhari was in London, Babashir Lawal, as the secretary to the government of Nigeria, used his influence with those who are also controlling the presidency at the time, because he was at par with Abba Kyari. They colluded and arranged to send Nigeria Air Force plane to go and bomb an IDP camp in Iran 3 times in a day. They killed over 300 people to cover up the corruption of looting, of stealing the money meant for them. When they were asked, Babashir Lawal defended the Nigeria Air Force. The Nigeria Air Force defended their flight pilot. They said they received a signal that Boko Haram were camping or were grouping in that area. How can Boko Haram be grouping in an area that you mapped out for security reason, away from Boko Haram war? You put people there, people who are victims of Boko Haram, you put them in that camp. Then you went there to bomb the place because you mistook the place for where Boko Haram were grouping. Common sense to cover up. So Buhari wrote a letter to defend Babashir Lawal. The letter is online. The copy of the letter is everywhere, where Buhari defended and said he has investigated all the charges, all the allegation against Babashir Lawal, and therefore he found him not guilty. Buhari didn't write that letter. Abba Kyari wrote the letter because that was his job. He was the de facto president. He was meant to keep the government going from going mad. Abba Kyari secretly told people, he said, if I am out of Buhari's government, there are so many animals, human-eating animals, that are going to destroy the government within months. Welcome to the Armageddon. Welcome to the end or near end of the tyranny. But people will suffer it. Right? Not them, but many of you who will stand up to defend them. So, Oshibajo sacked Babashir Lawal. A message came from London that Babashir Lawal should nominate his replacement. You know what happened? Babashir Lawal nominated his own cousin. His name is Boss Mustafa. He nominated his own cousin to replace him. When he was sacked, EFCC didn't arrest him. He was going about his normal business. He was on TV, granting interview, doing all of that. No, nothing. Until we screamed. They call us whalers. We screamed. We shamed them. Then they brought this bogus EFCC case against him. Guess what? In 2019, Babashir Lawal was the presidential campaign chairman for Buhari re-election in Adamawa State. He's being probed though for stealing money, killing people. But you know it is bogus. Abba Kyari came through for Babashir Lawal. They cover him. He replaced himself with his own cousin called Boss Mustafa. That is the one that came out to tell you that until Buhari appointed him to be... Buhari didn't appoint him. It was Abba Kyari that appointed him as a secretary to the government of the Federation to be what? To lead the presidential task force on COVID-19 in Nigeria. That's the one that came out to tell you that he never knew that our hospitals were like dead centers. He said he didn't know. He himself is probably nearly 60, if he's not 60. Boss Mustafa, secretary to the government of Nigeria. He didn't know that there is no hospitals in Nigeria until coronavirus came. because he never used them. So that one will die now. You ask me to be human. Being human kill you there. They say being sympathetic bogey you there. Babashir Lawal is working. Boss Mustafa is in government as a proxy for a thief, a killer. Then something happened again. You all remember this $25.5 billion NNPC oil contract. You remember? The one that the former NNPC GMD, Baru, traveled to London, to Buhari. He came here to London to give Buhari the document containing that 25.5 billion oil contract that they just sold, and they are going to get paid in so years. No, they don't give them the money at once, by the way. So don't think it's actually a ready-made money. No. They sold the licenses, people bidded and they paid, and then they'll continue to pay as they... Now, oil don't crash, everything don't spoil. Maybe the $25 billion as well will never come out. But this is what happened. Osinbajo was acting president in Nigeria with all the presidential power. But you know, there's no presidential power. They didn't really give him any presidential power, because the real president and the vegetable president, they are both in London. Baru, NNPC, GMD, left Osinbajo in Nigeria and traveled down to London to come and show Abba Kyari the newly awarded oil block contract that is worth $25 billion that they just awarded. This is it. We need the president to sign it. Don't worry. Put it under that machine. His signature is there automatically to stamp it on it for you. Go and use that. They left Osinbajo in Nigeria. It was Abba Kyari. You heard the story of MTN, where MTN was being penalized for swindling Nigerians, stealing from Nigerians unchecked for years. And therefore, the NCC charged MTN, I think $1 billion, something around 400 or thereabout billion naira. Then the news came. I'm glad that they bust them. We bust them, so they couldn't really push it for far too long. So we heard that MTN had to pay. Abba Kyari gave them the condition to go and pay. He collected 500 million naira, then ordered the MTN to pay, 50 billion towards APC's campaign, Buhari's re-election, and then they can write off the debt. The news broke. The arrangement, became leaked. And today, they all denied it, but nothing happened. No investigation, nothing. But there is something that really affects you directly that you should know about. Okay? You've heard the story of when they said there is no paracetamol, there is no syringe, there is no ventilator in Aso Rock Clinic. You read the story, didn't you? Great. Since Buhari came to power, they have spent over 12.7 billion naira on budgeting for Aso Rock Clinic. But ladies and gentlemen, Buharidens and Buharidideris that manages to join us, I am happy and sad at the same time to tell you that despite that billions allocated for 5 years of Buhari coming to power, you know that there is not even a single ventilator inside the Aso Rock Clinic. Aisha cannot get headache and be given paracetamol. It is that bad. And you have to believe me. I didn't say it. It was publicly shared by Buhari's daughter, Aisha's daughter. And Aisha backed her up that you will be surprised that we don't even have a single syringe in Aso Rock Clinic. Where is the billions? Gone down the drain because the man writing the figure was Abba Kyari. But this one affects you. Because Abba Kyari was so mad with the former health minister. I forgot his name. This, our former health minister, the one that said doctors can go and be making clothes. They should learn they should learn other trade so that they can become farmers. They can become this. What's it? Isaac. His name is Isaac or Isaac Oduwole or something, or Adewole, the former health minister. He had a problem with Abba Kyari. And to punish him, to punish the minister, Abba Kyari moved procurement right of the Ministry of Health to Ministry of Agriculture. Let me break it down for you to understand what that simply means. It means that if Ministry of Health, in charge of health care in Nigeria, if they want to buy cotton wool and they need to write it in the budget, that we need, this is our budget too. We want to buy bed. We want to equip Enugu General Hospital. We want to fix Sokoto General Hospital. Well, you know that stuff like Health Ministry. They will only write it on piece of paper. Then they will submit it to the Ministry of Agriculture. Ministry of Agriculture. You won't believe that has been going on since 2017. You won't believe it. Do you know that even when Buhari was rigged back in 2019 and they appointed a different health minister, they still didn't change it? It's a memo. They will just tell you the president ordered. You don't have it. You can't query it. You won't even see Buhari to ask question. You remember that woman, Ita Enang, or what's her name again? The former head of service. The one that the Abba Kyari wanted to push all the blames of how Abubakar Mena, the former pension thief, how he returned back to Nigeria after running away from prosecution. And when Buhari came to power, Mena returned to Nigeria, got reinstated into the civil service, got promoted. All the years he ran away from prosecution, Buhari's government paid him all of that, promoted him, then transferred him to another ministry to hide him so that nobody will know that he's back. So we were told that all of that was done by Abba Kyari. So when that became public, Abba Kyari pushed it on that woman, the former head of service. The woman is facing EFCC charges right now on so many things that took place because it is just going to be order of the president. President said, you can't question him. You can't see the president to ask him. You know what I mean now? And if you try to question that, you may lose your position. That is how they are running Buhari's government because Abba Kyari was the de facto president. Let's continue on the issue of the health. So because of the problem he had with the health minister, he stopped the health ministry from writing their own budget, from purchasing whatever they need for any health department or any healthcare department in Nigeria. Many of you didn't know that. You didn't. But now that you know, go and research it. Ministry of Health. Abba Kyari then became sick. He needed hospital. He needed care. He needed doctors. He needed people. He needed place to put in. They had to put up something quick that money could buy. Because the Nigerian healthcare system has been... The reason why Buhari will never use the healthcare system in Nigeria. Because Abba Kyari knows what they did to the healthcare system in Nigeria. Not that they made it better, they made it worse. Are you with me? They made it worse. So to this day, as you and I are talking, maybe someone will be bold enough to change that memo and let the Ministry of Health begin to do their procurement. Okay? You can see that when they said Buhari gave 10 billion to Lagos, 5 billion to NCDC to fight coronavirus, did you hear anything being budgeted for the health ministry to fight coronavirus? They just merged the health ministry with NCDC now. Because to them, NCDC, we no get hospital, we no get anything, an agency that will only use the facility provided by the Ministry of Health. That's how it should be. NCDC should be a part of Ministry of Health. The Ministry of Health should be championing all of this in a way, just like everyone else, by the way. But guess what? They are merging the Ministry of Health now merging it with NCDC. The Minister of Health, the current Minister of Health going about, doesn't even know what is going on. They brought in the Chinese doctors. He went to the airport to welcome them. When they asked him on TV, who brought the Chinese doctors, he said, we didn't invite them. Who gave them the approval? We didn't give them the approval. We didn't pay for them coming. Meanwhile, when the Chinese company that brought the Chinese doctors, when they wanted to thank Nigerians, they said, we thank the Nigerian government for giving us the approval to bring in. Who gave the approval? Maybe not the ministry. I hope that makes sense to you now. That the ministry is not in charge because Abba Kyari already destroyed them internally. They are only appearing and showing up just for camera. Ask people who understand the health sectors in Nigeria. So when they tell you to mourn him, if you get stoned, please stone them. Because they are just as useless as the person they are trying to make you love. You don't owe anybody any sympathy. You owe nobody any love. You give your love to who you want to give it to. And you give it to Abba Kyari if you feel like giving it to him. But nobody should blackmail you into giving up your love or your care or your feelings. How you feel about this. If you know what they have done, you will think your prayers have been answered. You will think maybe the prayer you have been praying for those who are killing Nigerians slowly should die shamelessly. And that's exactly what happened. You will think it's your prayers that worked. Because a lot is going on that they have committed that you will never, ever, ever have a tiny bit of feelings for them. Ever. Let's take it on. I am giving you facts that you can search. If you are not too lazy, right? You can search for it on Google. All these keywords I'm giving to you, they are those things to lead you to the information I've already explained so far. Let's go on. Security. The one that brought Buhari to power. Gong. Many people thought if they voted for Buhari, among other things, when it comes to security, we can go to bed and sleep. Nobody will do anything when Buhari is president. That was how someone feel. The Buharidins, the Buhari Didenes, the Buhari Denotus, the Buhari Dijatus, the Buhari Shukus, the Ngozi Haris, the Nneka Haris, the obedient fools, the humble slaves, the sophisticated morons, and your uncles and aunties abroad, the Abroadian Buharidins, Buhari Didenes, the premium Buhari Denotus and Buhari Dijatus, the Mumumadus, the Bele lecturers, the Mumu lecturers. Was that not the reason why many of you voted for Buhari in 2015? Jonathan was too soft. He was too corrupt to even fight Boko Haram. It was this, it was that. Now Buhari became the president in 2015. This is what played out. Buhari became, Buhari became the president, just like I said, and said he was going to fight terrorism. Now, terrorism is striving. When he came in, we were fighting Boko Haram. Today, we are now battling with bandits, with Fulani herdsmen, and so many other sundry criminals who have been facilitated across the country to further destroy wherever is left, the carcass of the country. Who made that happen? It started from changing the winning the winning security structure that they could have built on if they meant well, genuinely. Yeah, you came in. You wanted to defeat these guys. Many Northerners are now homeless. Many of them are now living in IDP camp. These pictures are so gory to see. Looking at children crying because their parents have been killed and all of that. Yes, if you mean well, all you would have done was just to build on whatever is being done at that time, not stop it. Then change it. Then fuck it up. Then blame or pass the blame to whoever you can think of. God, weather, Jonathan, PDP, Whalers, name it. Oh, these people, except yourself. You blame others. So this is how it all panned out. When Buhari came in, he sacked those, they were cherry picking. Because in 2014 2013, 2014, when they were fighting the war against Boko Haram very, very strongly at the time, under Jonathan. What's that? Sorry. Yeah. So as they were then, the former NSA, National Security Advisor, was Dasuki. So Dasuki was National Security Advisor to Jonathan. While Dasuki, among other security chiefs in this, in the military at the time, the current chief of army staff, his name is, I prefer to call him Buratai the Butcher, but his name is Yusuf Buratai. Buratai the Butcher was the procurement officer for Nigerian army when they were fighting the Boko Haram war. What does that mean? There is a Ministry of Defense that should be in charge of all the military expenses, hardware, and the rest of that, training and all of that, including with the Nigerian army. The NSA, National Security Advisor, was to liaise between those security men and every security intel, advice or whatever he gets, then advise the president on them. So whichever one that he needed to give his authority on, give his approval for. So Dasuki's job was to advise Jonathan based on information he received from the military and the security chiefs. That was how it was meant to be. So the security chiefs of that time, they were liaising with Dasuki, including Buratai the Butcher. So in the process of fighting the war, Buratai, the procurement officer, was to tell us whenever we bought any new weapons, hardware, and whenever we take out weapons or hardware from our armory. That was his job. Just to tell us, oh, we brought in 1,000 hand grenades. We brought in 10,000 AK-47. Now, he will also sign it and say, delivered. Whenever they ordered for the inventory to be, to be emptied for whatever, whatever war, whatever they want to go for, it was the job of Buratai the Butcher to also tell us how many guns they take out of that storage, how many bombs, how many this, how many bullets, how many, you know what I mean now. So that was his job. Throughout Jonathan's time, Buratai was signing that every weapon bought for Nigeria army were delivered. He was signing it. He was signing it. Many of you know the corruption that is involved in that, right? Good. So when Buhari came to power, Buhari arrested Dasuki. Arrested others. So there are other people arrested, not just Dasuki. And said they looted money meant for the fight against Boko Haram. They didn't buy any weapon. Because when they checked, they realized that there was no weapon bought. It was a lie. The man that signed and said weapons were bought, weapons were delivered, Buratai the Butcher, was promoted. He wasn't arrested, questioned, or anything at all. He was promoted to become the chief of staff. He became one of the service chiefs himself. He became the big boss himself. Instead of answering for the allegation made by Buhari's government that weapons were not bought. So who told them that weapons were not bought? That should have been the last, probably the current inventory officer when Buratai was promoted. Then who was the inventory officer at the time they bought weapons, that signed up weapons were bought? It was Buratai. Buratai was promoted, and all of a sudden, Buratai became a multi-billionaire Nigerian soldier. He has, luxury properties in Dubai, expensive shopping mall for his wives, 2 big shopping malls in Dubai, bought in the name of his wives. Luxury apartments rented out in Dubai, bought in the name of Buratai. As usual, we pointed that out. How is that possible? You need to investigate him too. If you have found out that this happened, then you need to investigate him too. You shouldn't promote him, but they promote him for a certain arched job. And he did, and he's still doing so well. His job was to be loyal to the seat of power. His job is not to be loyal to Nigeria anymore. Buratai the butcher, the chief of army staff in Nigeria, and same with many of those service chiefs in Nigeria. They are no longer patriotic. They are only patriotic and loyal to that seat in Abuja, not to Nigeria anymore. And that is the truth. They may twist it. Many of you soldiers who are watching this, let me be honest with you. We feel your pulse more than how you can imagine. But we see through the game they are playing, not with just your lives, but with the lives of those you are trying to protect too. You put your lives on the line. You know what has happened in the last 5 years that you have been battling the Boko Haram war. You all know that the fight against Boko Haram has changed from what it was before this government came in. Many of you are now living in fear. Many of you are now living through the den of enemies. Your intel, your movement are being released to enemies. Even when you still fought so bad, you died bleeding, you still get to arrest some of these terrorists. What do you get? They get released because they repented. That's how ungrateful Nigeria is to you. It is not us not appreciating you. We would appreciate you if they let you do the job that you really swore to do. They are not doing it for you, and you know that. Your welfare, the care, the weaponry, you know it. How many of your colleagues have you lost in the last 5 years? Needlessly. Those you shouldn't have lost at all. If the real pictures they painted about the Nigerian army for us when we were growing up were true, you, a soldier watching me right now, you will agree with me that your colleagues that have died needlessly, probably they shouldn't have died. If they had made it easier for you, equip you, not allow you to die on your knees, but rather die standing up, fighting, defending the lives of those you love, the country you love. But they've stolen that country you love from you. You are now fighting to keep tyrants, dictators, killers, marauders, fraudsters, manipulators, forgers, heartless people in power. You may not know. You are not fighting to keep Nigeria one anymore. You are fighting to keep tyranny in power, because that is what Buratai the butcher swore to do. That is Buratai's insurance when Buhari was clamping down on those he suspected to be his enemies. They gave him a condition. You will protect this president. You will protect this presidency, no matter what. And that's exactly what he is doing. You must never forget, and you must never be deceived in any way. I didn't say this. It was the National Security Advisor to Buhari that wrote a memo and said Abba Kyari's interference in the fight against Boko Haram is mitigating against the fight against Boko Haram. Listen to this again. I didn't say it. It was Buhari's National Security Advisor. His name is Muguno. He wrote a memo. He's so concerned. He saw the pictures of our soldiers being killed. Some of our soldiers being captured, slaughtered by those miscreants that they actually have locations. They contact those in power. They get protection and intel from them. Muguno felt concerned. He knew he couldn't reach Buhari without the gatekeeper. Who is the gatekeeper? Abba Kyari. And he wanted to complain about Abba Kyari. Can he go to Abba Kyari and complain to Abba Kyari about Abba Kyari? Of course, impossible. So he wrote a memo in his own constitutional capacity. He is the only one. He is the only one constitutionally allowed to call for any national security meeting. He is the only one who has the ears of the president when it comes to security. But many of them knew, and they still know, that it was Abba Kyari that was the de facto president. It wasn't Buhari. They had no chance. You may see them in pictures. You may see them at events. They may look like they are all right. They are actually deadlier than a cult. Abba Kyari made that happen. He made that happen. Moguno wrote all the service chiefs, all the security agencies in Nigeria, the police, the DSS, the SSS, the military. He said, listen, this guy is interfering in the fight against Boko Haram. He's not helping us. He shouldn't be giving orders. You shouldn't be taking orders from him. He has no constitutional right. There's no constitutional power. Everything you took from him, they were done in act of illegality. Stop. Stop. We can't, I can't even advise the president because I don't have anything to say to the president. The president doesn't even know about all these orders. Abba Kyari released the memo. He released the memo to the media to hang Moguno. So, and in their usual way, in their usual Machiavellian way, he will give him a long rope to tie and hang himself if he was to be alive. So if you see people who tend to throw caution into the air, right, and celebrate Abba Kyari's death, probably you should ask, because some of the APC members, 80% of them are celebrating his death right now. They may tell you to let us mourn, let us be human. They are not human beings. They are a bunch of animals. Do not be deceived or blackmailed into any of those lies. They are not human beings. They are not animals. I mean, they don't think like humans. They don't think they will ever have to die in Nigeria when others are dying in Germany, dying in London. They should put it there. I schooled in London. I schooled in America, Harvard, went to Oxford, I went to Cambridge. I became this, that. Then I've returned to Nigeria to develop my fatherland. So I contributed immensely, hugely, to the growth and development of Nigeria. Blah, 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 nonsense. Development that made you the poverty capital of the world, and they are bragging about it. Then they want to say, oh, and I died in London hospital because there is no hospital in Nigeria. I forgot about that. So they want to walk to heaven with that certificate. I schooled in Cambridge. I got a scholarship to go to Harvard. I studied economics and human development. I studied blah, 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 he's a international lawyer of repute. Fuck off. Fuck off with those bullshit. The country those intelligent people built is Nigeria. You have it there. No 24 hours electricity. Educated people, professors, rigging election for thugs, for criminals. Educated professors. Say, Professor Fagbui. Professor, the first Nigerian mechanical engineer. Rubbish. So what happened? He died. That's what happened. So his actions mitigated against the fight on terrorism. Under him, they made arrangements with Boko Haram. Remember, Buhari came to power, promised that he was going to defeat Boko Haram. He was going to return those who are living in IDP camps. He was going to return them back to their various homes, and everybody will live happily afterward, and the rest of that. The lies they sold you, the lies the Mumumadus are still trying to force on us. One by one. When it comes to the time that, they said the coronavirus is cleaning the earth. Let it clean all of us away so that we can leave this world for the real people. I mean, people who have feelings, not pretenders, hypocrites, who always want to blackmail you, drag you into their own victimhood. Let us remember the last day. Forget it. All of us get our last day. The world ends when I stop breathing. The world ends. Your world ends the day you stop breathing. Then your life probably lives on for those you manage to impact. And that one is between you and whatever happened to any of us. We are all going to die. Nobody should threaten anybody with any fucking fake death. We will all die. How we are going to die, we don't know. So, but we will die. But this one that we have witnessed, it's just to remind ourselves of those who have died needlessly, because this single man probably thought he was going to live forever. Powerful. They are powerful. 2023. We are going to work it out. It's so brainy. Buhari has lost a very dear friend. May his heaven be as exactly as beautiful, as peaceful, as prosperous as Nigeria he left. That's the prayer you should be joining them to pray for him. May he face what you are facing in Nigeria, in the heaven he's going. Exactly. Because he didn't even face what you faced, by the way. So, he secretly made arrangements with Nigerian army to be releasing Boko Haram terrorists back to the society. Because they said, listen to this, the reason why I'm attaching everything to him, you remember, is because he is your de facto president. Buhari is lifeless. Okay? He can't even talk. For real. You know what I mean now? So Buhari is lifeless wherever he is. He can't think. It's like removing one of his bones, but he's a dictator. There is someone worse. You know what I mean? There's someone worse than Abba Kyari in the presidency. Una go hear him. You go hear win. But if that one will be able to hold the whole thing together, the same way Abba Kyari threatened, even Tinubu, all of them, they are scared of Abba Kyari. He is the last bus stop. So you think Tinubu right now is not feeling like, man, I need to parley with whoever is going to be the next chief of staff now, because we don't know. And Baba Gana Kinjibe, another 80-year-old man, is likely going to be your next chief of staff. And coronavirus is still in Nigeria. It's just arriving. It's yet to actually move around and fuel the whole country. So stay safe, stay home, because nobody go tell you, but they go tell you when that happens. They were releasing Boko Haram fighters. For what? Because they repented. Repented? What happened to the people that are living in the IDP camps? Have they returned back to their homes? Because you are busy now putting money together to send the Boko Haram fighter to go and study abroad. How is that possible? How is that even making any sense to anybody? But the people who they killed, people who they destroyed their lives, destroyed their family, destroyed their homes, and they destroyed their livelihood, they are still in IDP camp. They are now begging to survive. Begging to live, to survive for the next day. But they are killers. They are being driven about. Buhari even sent a military plane to go and bring Boko Haram fighters from Niger. Can you actually believe that? They sent Nigerian aircraft to Niger Republic to go and bring 14 Boko Haram fighters and their wives and their children. The women they probably kidnapped when they were killing people. Now in Niger Republic, they didn't have any policy to free any Boko Haram. They didn't have any policy to rehabilitate any terrorist. Nigeria sent plane to Niger to bring them to Nigeria, 14 of them. You saw the video, you saw the pictures, didn't you? All of that were done by Abba Kyari. We couldn't win the war. They became more businessmen. Everything became paddy. People were dying. While we are crying, bandits took over. Fulani herdsmen began threatening us. And before you know it, they put something together. They said, it's called the Ruga. Let us love our brothers. Let us love our killers. Who does that? It's the government of terrorists. When you have terrorists in charge, they will suggest death. Even Femi Oponu Adesina, the garrulous, empty-head, fat bag, what do you call it? Femi Oponu Adesina. Empty-head, a disgrace. Came out to ask us, to tell us that, you should accept either your land or your life. Which one do you prefer? From a government, a terrorist government. And they want us to be nice, to feel good and feel human. And we should act like humans and all of that. We will act like humans when we begin to deal with humans. For now, we are dealing with terrorists. We are dealing with criminals. And there is no amount of blackmail that will make us feel better for them. You know what I mean now? So, again, like I said from the beginning, if the truth is going to hurt, don't watch me. It is safe or safer not to watch me than to watch me and be throwing tantrums at home at your phone right now. You can stop here because I'm going to take a break. And when I get back, we will round this up again. So bear with me. I need to drink some tea. I've been talking for like an hour. Thank you very much for that little time there. I needed it. So I needed to drink something there. So my tea became the option. So to cut it all short, we have done our own part. We are following our own path, and we will never derail. We know all the lies they have sold us. We know all the manipulations they have done on us from generation to generation, and it has come to a stage where a generation will begin to lay the path for complete liberation from this continuous generational enslavement. There are those who intentionally, who willingly submitted to be enslaved simply because of what they want to eat, simply because of the fear of not going hungry. However, some of us would rather go hungry, die hungry, than beg, grow fat as a slave in a way. And most of this slavery thing, by the way, is mental. It is always mental. You can live in the poverty capital of the world and make yourself feel like you are better off simply because you want to make yourself feel like you are better off. But there is no difference that actually differentiates you from those who probably don't even have like you. You live through that corrupt, destroyed, rigged system anyway. And everyone will be a victim of any system that is rigged against the majority. So whether you are a Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo, Biafran, our good brother, our good neighbors there, and then wherever you are from, I know we have more than 3 major ethnic groups in Nigeria, but I'm using this as a blanket statement now. Everyone is going to have a bite from the consequences of cluelessness, corruption, tyranny, dictatorship, and I don't care that some of you are very much used to. As long as you continue to be enablers, the defenders, the mouthpiece or the spokespersons for these criminals, you will one day become a victim physically. But for now, mentally, psychologically, you are more or less a victim. Nobody is safe from it. Everybody's going to fight it. Everyone is going to fight it, and not everybody is going to fight it, by the way. But whatever it is, people are asking for Shimbajo. I'm coming back later today. I'm coming back live later today, which is going to be the part 2 of this. The death of Abba Kyari, the hunger in Nigeria, and the revolution that is looming. Again, I'm going to stop here. I'm going to tell you that the survivors of yesterday, they are going to be the victims of today. The survivors of today, they are going to be the victims of tomorrow. Tyranny is so big enough, especially when it has enablers. tyranny is so big enough that it will go round directly or indirectly. So for those of you who will continue to defend them, for those of you who will continue to push the narrative of, narrative of let us respect the dead. Even the dead man didn't even respect those of you who are alive. You know why? The confusion that brought in the coronavirus in the first place into Aso Rock, the negligence, the big manism, the arrogance of power, the influence, the throwing their weight about that they love doing all the time, that if they don't, they're just going to feel dead, was the reason why he died in the first place. Because when he traveled, number one, it wasn't even like, it doesn't even have that constitutional role to go and speak for power generation in Nigeria, to go and represent Nigeria for power generation in Germany. When you have a minister of power, when you have those fake men that they put in office, give them offices, make them look like they are going to do something when they won't do anything, by the way. So he went to Germany when the coronavirus was at its almost, was getting to its peak in Germany. He moved about, had a meeting with a German, what have you, in the Germany, in the Nigerian embassy in Berlin. Came to Nigeria out of, he's educated man. They said he's educated man. He's so educated, he said, me, I'm not as educated as he was. But I won't do that. Yeah? He arrived in Nigeria, went to see Buhari, talked to Buhari like nothing happened, like normal. Then Buhari, okay, Yaya Bello's mom died. They want to do Frida prayer. Oh, we needed to invite Buhari. Buhari can't come. Abba Kyari go and represent me. He traveled down to Kogi to go and represent Buhari. He was doing everything, doing meeting, hosting people, going to seminar. He even hosted the NCDC, Presidential Task Force. So he felt like it was nothing. Then when he began to cough, then they began to think, oh, could that be? Oh, let's go and isolate him. Go into isolation after 2 weeks. He's already everywhere. He's already spread the whole thing. He even died. They are still doing that big manism. NCDC should be the one, burying the any COVID-19 victim that died. And if you are a family member you want to witness the burial, you will be given the attendance, guidelines. But look at what happened in Abuja yesterday. Look at the drama. The thing just started. You no have an idea. Okay? The thing just they enter Nigeria. The fact that Nigeria is now scaling up a test is what will give you an idea of what is going on. By that time, you'll think, oh, this thing just happened, though. People are now... No. It's been around. The test they are going to start conducting now will release some higher figures. And again, remember this. I keep saying it. Coronavirus is not a death sentence if you don't have any health care, any health issue. But now that we have seen among those who have died, who never had any health issue, who have also contracted the coronavirus and died, now the best advice is what? Is that you should stay home. And if you have to go out, which I believe many of us want to, do as much as possible to stay away from gatherings, to keep your distance. It won't kill you. Because if you get them, Baba, God help us. So more people have recovered. Over 197 people have recovered with the data we have so far. And the confirmed cases is now over 540 in Nigeria. 197 recovered. Active cases is about 200 and something or thereabout, or 300. So whatever the whole thing works out to be, more tests will reveal what is on our hands. No joke. Prominent people will die. And you will read about them on social media. You may think, well, na them. There are other poor people that will die. Not so famous people that will die. And my brother, you don't want to see that. So do your best. You know what we have. There is no ventilator, no nothing here. If the thing escalates and all of that become a big thing, you don't want to be among those that will need those ventilators. You know what I mean? So do your best to stay away. Because many of them, even when Abba Kyari died, he is still sharing the virus. He is still spreading it. You saw them in the video yesterday. The result will come out in 30 days. Now 30 days. February 22nd was, I think, was when America recorded their first death. March 22nd, they recorded about 40-something death or thereabout. Today, those who have died in America have crossed about 40,000, if I'm not mistaken. So, do not join them to say, nah them. Do your best to stay away. If you get asthma, do your best to stay away. Me, I'm not health worker. I'm not an health but on this coronavirus, the enough information they've passed to us is enough to at least make us feel like we are safe away from it. We are doing our best. It doesn't mean that you can't get it. But many of you will even have it. You will never have the symptom. You will never be sick. And you need to leave you. You'll be fine. You will never have anything. And you will know because nobody will test you to know if you have it or if you had it, or if your antibody work for you to keep you okay. But if you get asthma, if you get diabetes, if you have recently done an operation, all these things are precursor that can, if by any chance you should contract it, your chance of survival will be tested due to those instances. If you have children who have asthma, who are using what have you, ensure you do your best. Just do your best. Okay? I'm not going to say that's how it works. That's how we save you. That's what will save you and the rest of that. For those who believe in prayers, pray, do all you can. But please, pay attention to these guidelines to stay alive. There is no enough if this thing should escalate in Nigeria. It won't be the first time things like this happen though. There was a time in 1918 that this happened. There's another time in 1957. They call it Asian flu. In 1918, they call it a Spanish flu. In Nigeria alone, we lost over 500,000 people. No joke. There is no social media. There is no internet. There is no nothing. The figure they gave us was about 500,000 people who died. Do not dare it. Do not think, right? You are safe from it. You may be. Someone close to you may not. And you can transfer it. Do your best to stay away. And hopefully, when I come back later this afternoon, we'll hammer on the hunger that is going to threaten revolution in Nigeria. There's a lot to talk about. It's been a pleasure having you with me this afternoon. So enjoy the rest of the day. I'll see you when I can see you later tonight. Thank you.
Aṣòfin tí ó ń fi òun ayé ìṣúra yìí ayé ti dé lọ́wọ́ olóṣèlú ayé ìṣúra ayé ti dé ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ṣúra yìí ayé ti dé ayé ìṣúra yìí. Suragi Mayegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú rẹ̀ Suragi ìfẹ́ ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò òun fi wọ́n níran òòrè. Mayegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú rẹ̀ Suragi Mayegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú rẹ̀ Suragi. Ẹni bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ òní fi wọ́n níran. Wọ́n fún owó bẹ́ẹ̀ o, Máyégún sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọ́n fún owó bẹ́ẹ̀, Máyégún sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Oníkanṣá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe. Máwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ òun báyé. Máyégún ti ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ Suragi Mayegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ Suragi ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ òní fi wọ́n níran. Kì máa rí ṣe ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe fẹ́. Kì máa rí ṣe ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe fẹ́. Ẹni bá ti lè lẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́rù o. Ọmọ bá lè lo kàṣà ìtú bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ̀rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n ní ìran.
tẹnitẹni ọmọ máyégún ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú màmá ni mo fọlọ́run sọ ẹ̀ báàgì lẹ́rù lóòótọ́ olódodo ọ̀tá ìlú màmá ni ìwọ ṣáà ṣọ́ra kò sì má bẹ̀rù. bọ́tà lè fi bóníṣègùn lé ká ó màmá fi ṣe ra wọn ní ìdáhùn tí wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ sí mọ́bẹ̀. èèpo ọ̀pọ̀ lọmọ bá dé lójàjò gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ ó ti jọba lórí àbínú ẹni kò sì mọ́ kùyà àìsíwọ́lú ní ẹni kò ní eyín lábàrá o
gbogbo ẹni tó bá dùn ẹ̀wò á káàbùkù.
máyé ìlú ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì máyé ìlú ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì o bẹ́ẹ̀ni bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ̀rọ ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Ayẹ̀bò ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ̀rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Thank you, my brother Mustapha Iskil Omogbolawan. God bless you. Thank you for your time today. Enjoy the rest of the day and have a good one. Good afternoon.